Hi everyone and welcome to Squirrel Pie Productions. My name is Tommy. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as DynamiteTrujillo. Welcome to episode 109. Thank you so much for being here. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back, and if you're a new viewer, welcome. You can find show notes for this episode in the description box below. That's where you'll find links to everything I talk about in today's episode. Today is a really bright and sunny, but super duper cold Friday in December here on the Northern California coast where I'm coming to you from. Hi. I hope your December is going really, really well. This is my last full episode of 2020. I record every 2 weeks typically, and 2 weeks from today is going to be January 1st. So I think I'm going to be doing a New Year's Day episode next. I am doing Vlogmas though, in case you are interested in following along with what my December is looking like. You can check that out. They're coming out really short little Vlogmas episodes almost every day this whole month. So that's been really, really fun, and I think some of you have been following along, and I'm so appreciative, and thank you for joining me for Vlogmas. Vlogmas is a really fun time. It's something a lot of YouTubers do, especially crafting YouTubers, and it's just really fun. And there's a lot of content in December if you use YouTube as your form of video entertainment like I do. It's awesome. So we have the Autumn and Sweaters 2020 Make and Wear Along still happening. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere and it's anywhere like where I live, it doesn't seem like it's still autumn, but it is. It's not winter yet. It really feels like winter, but it isn't. So it's still autumn. So the Autumn and Sweaters Make and Wear Along is still happening. It's happening on Instagram. So if you use or search for the hashtag Autumn and Sweaters 2020, that is where you can participate. That's where you can find everybody else who's participating. And it's really amazing. It's where you can make any sweater using any craft and tag a post, or just wear your handmade sweaters. It doesn't matter when they were made or who made them. If they're handmade and you're wearing them this autumn, you can use the hashtag too. That will enter you to win a prize, which I will draw for in my next episode. So technically it ends on the winter solstice, but you can use the hashtag and participate all the way up until January 1st, because that's when I'll draw for prizes. So cheat away. It's okay. I rhymed. Okay. So thank you for those of you who've been participating in that. I love it. I love it. I love it. I've been wearing a lot of my sweaters this autumn, mostly cardigans. If you've been here before, you probably heard me talk about how I really love wearing cardigans over pullovers. I like pullovers, but I just tend to not wear them as much as my cardigans, because with a pullover, for me anyway, it's more like a part of your outfit, whereas a cardigan just kind of goes over your outfit. So I don't know. That's why, and that's why. So I've been wearing a lot of my cardigans. I've got a pretty good little closet full of cardigans. They're right over there in my office closet. That's where I hang them all when I'm not wearing them. And I've kind of been loving going through every day and picking what cardigan I'm going to wear that day. Speaking of that, I'm full of smooth transitions this morning. So I'm wearing my Calligraphy Cardigan. This is a pattern by Hannah Fettig, and I knit this, I don't know, some time ago, maybe a couple years ago. It's knit out of Verdant Decay, which is a yarn by Abundant Earth Fibers. It's in like the dark gray colorway. It's an undyed yarn. And it's kind of a tweedy yarn. I'm showing you kind of up close here, and you can probably see it. It's pretty pilly. It's like terribly pilly. And pills I don't love them, but I'm very lazy about them. So this sweater did pill a lot. It has a lot of pills on it right now. And if I was less lazy about pill removal, I would remove those pills because I don't love them, but they don't bother me enough to motivate me to actually get them off. Also, I don't have a great pill removal system. Like the way I remove pills is just by picking them off, which I don't is not the best way to do it, especially over a whole sweater. But I do hope to get a gleaner one day. I hear good things about gleaners, and it sounds nice to just be able to go whoosh, 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 and it be done. But anyway, so this yarn did pill a lot, but not a huge deal to me. But it is kind of, if you can look through the pills, it's a little bit tweedy. Not that it has like tweed neps in it or anything. It's just a little variable in terms of like pops of different colors or types of fiber. I'm trying to find an example that I can show you. Like it's got these, oh my goodness, what am I doing here? No, all you can see is pills on that part that I can show you easily. Anyway, it's great yarn. I love it. It's a non-superwash DK weight yarn. I'm not sure what kind of fiber it is, but it's 100% wool, and it's spun at a mill in the Pacific Northwest. I apologize. I don't know exactly where it is. I wanted to say it's in Washington, but it could be Oregon. I don't know. It's somewhere up there. North of me, but on the coast still. And I think it's on an island too, like out there. I don't know. It's pretty cool. I really like this yarn. They were at Stitches West sometime in recent years, and that's where I saw their booth, saw all their yarn. It's really beautiful. Went with this one, made the sweater. I love it. It's got big plastic black buttons, which I'm here for. Okay, that's what I'm wearing. I love this sweater. It's super warm, it's super cozy, which is good because my office is really, really cold right now. Should we move on to what I've been making? I have no finished objects this time around. I have not finished anything. But I have been working on some stuff, mostly the same stuff as last time, but I do have one new cast on. And the first thing that I've been working on is living in my unicorn bag that I made, and they are my Cassiopeia socks. I have one done. So I have a half finished object. That's counts for something. This is being knit out of my hand-dyed yarn, my hand-dyed yarn, which is Moonstone Dyeworks. This is the cake. It's the Cassiopeia colorway, which is a beautiful constellation, and it's in my merino sport weight base. So this is 100% superwash merino, and it's sport weight, and I really like it for socks. So what I decided to do for these socks is cast on 56 stitches with a size US 1 needle, and I did a 3x1 ribbing for the leg, a 1x1 ribbing for the cuff. And the 3x1 ribbing goes all the way down the front of the sock, and then on the back I stop it at the heel and just do stockinette on the bottom of the foot. I have done a heel flap and gusset, which is my very favorite kind of heel. I've been curious about experimenting with other heels. What do you think? What's your favorite heel? I would love to know what your favorite heel is. I've done the Afterthought heel once, and I didn't love it. But I've only done it once, and it was a long time ago. So I have done the Fish Lips Kiss heel a number of times. I also don't love it. I like how deep and like, I don't know, there's a lot of room here for your heel and your, whatever this is called, instep? Is that the instep? There's a lot of room in this heel for that, but not like too much room. It's not like baggy. And it's got the slip stitch heel flap, which I really like because I feel like that really hugs you tight, you know? But I have been curious about the, what is it called? The Something is the New Black heel. Vanilla is the New Black. I've been curious about that heel. I've seen the knit girls try that heel a few times, and that looks really interesting to me. I know Yolanda of Happy Knits likes the Fleegle heel, which is the Fleegle heel kind of like the double gusset heel? Because I used to do the double gusset heel, or it was called the gusset heel. by Wendy Johnson, which I also picked up from the Knit Girls. My first like half dozen socks were in that heel. And I think that might be similar to the Fleecle heel. I don't know. What heel do you use? I really want to know. What's your favorite? What fits your foot really well? I know that the Afterthought heel and the Fish Lips heel, like that whole like type of short row heel fits a lot of people really well. Just not me. I don't know. I find it to be too shallow. I don't know. Anyway, I've been thinking about trying a new heel. Maybe with my next sock, I'll try something different. And not, I mean, I love the heel flap and gusset. I'm just, I don't know, maybe I'm bored with it. I don't know. So I did a regular wedge toe. I do the way I measure my toes is I knit top down, and I knit until, I try it on as I go, and I knit until the sock, until my live stitches come up just to the tip of my pinky toe, and then I start my heel. And the way I do my heel is I'll do decreases on either side. So 4 decreases per round. And I decrease, I'll do like knit 1, SSK, knit across, knit 2 together, knit 1. And then do that on the other side as well. Magic loop is what I do. And then I do a plain knit round and then a decrease round all the way down until I feel like I'm done, which typically varies between having 8 and 12 stitches on each needle. This one, it was 10. So I decreased down until I had 10 stitches on the needle, on each needle rather. And then I Kitchenered. And I love Kitchenering. Do you? I know some people don't like it, but I love it. Yeah. And that is my finished sock. It fits really nicely, except I wish I would have made the leg a little bit longer. I was definitely deceived by the ribbing because the ribbing pulls it in, makes it look skinnier than it actually is. So because of that, I think it just looked long enough. But in reality, after I tried it on, after I was like halfway done with the foot, I realized I would have liked it like maybe a ½ an inch longer. But that's okay. I'll live. So that's the first one. The second one is at a very interesting stage. I've got about half of the cast on done. And that is as far as I got before I had to drop it and go do something with Lucy at some point. So I actually think I did this last night. Yeah, I did this last night while Lucy was taking a bath, and then I couldn't finish it. So I am using my Chiaogu interchangeable twist needles, the mini twists. So this is the sock size. It's a 1, and it's got this lovely, beautiful, flexible cable that I'm in love with. I love these needles. So that is it. I hope I don't get second sock syndrome. I hope I don't. I have already had my eye on other socks that I really want to make. There's 2 other socks that I want to make right now, but I am stopping myself from casting those on because I don't want this to become a, what do you call those? An UFO? I like calling them UFOs because I like alien stuff, so I don't want it to become a UFO. And then I also have Colin's Christmas socks from last year still on the needles. If you're a longtime viewer, you may or may not remember those. I gave him some partially finished socks in a project bag in his Christmas stocking last year, and as a Christmas gift, and I still have not finished them. I had designs on finishing them this year so that I could put the finished socks in his stocking this year, but that hasn't happened yet. I kind of doubt I'll get it done. Maybe I should. I should just do it. I should just pick them up like as soon as I'm done recording and work on them like monogamously until they're done. That way I can have a big surprise of these socks that he probably doesn't even remember in his stocking this year. I should do that. Those are being knit out of Two Guys Yarn Company in their tweed base in like a Robin Zig blue colorway. That's a good idea. I mean, I already knew it was a good idea. I'm not going to do it though. I'm not going to do it. Anyway, those are the 2 socks that I don't want to forget about right now, but the 2 socks that I want to make are, one is a design by Lindsay Fowler, and I think they're called the Riptide Socks. And somebody suggested those socks to me when I was talking about how I'm experimenting with ribbed socks as opposed to stockinette socks and trying to get like a better, snugger / stretchier fit on my foot and leg. So somebody suggested those socks, and it had reminded me that when those socks were released, I fell in love with them and I bought the pattern right away, and then I forgot about them. So I really want to make those, and those are really cool because they're mostly stockinette, but they just have a few lines of pearls going down the leg and the foot in a really neat, like, kind of triangular pattern. So I want to make those, and I really actually wanted to make them in one of Moonstone Dyeworks' Christmas colorways this year and knit on those in December for my Christmas socks, but I just decided not to because I knew then that I would never finish my Cassiopeia socks if I did that. But once these are done, I would really like to cast on some other cool indie dyed yarn socks in that pattern. I also have been super inspired by Amy Beth of the Fat Squirrel, who recently knit her husband some, I don't remember what she called them. They're like bed socks or something, or like house socks or some kind of, pretty much they're just like ribbed heavyweight socks. And she had like this whole cool story that went along with them, and she was inspired to make them from, I can't remember her like business name, but P4 Chen is like her handle or whatever. I don't know. Somebody who does like a lot of stuff. She's like super popular. And she was inspired by her to knit some of these socks, and they're just really thick, like worsted or Aran weight socks, and they're ribbed, and they're supposed to be treated like house socks or slippers or something. So I've been really wanting to make those. And also, I think the thing that really inspired me and that I wanted to do was that they're non-superwash. So they're really woolly and just like, you know? Amy Beth knit hers with some Harrisville Designs. I forget what the yarn line is called, but it's one of the really classic ones that is mostly wool, but it also has some mohair in it. I think, is it weekend wool? I can't remember. I don't remember. I've never tried it. But because it has mohair in it and there's no nylon, that kind of like helps with the strength. But I don't have anything like that. So I've been considering, I've got a lot of worsted weight and Aran weight non-superwash yarn in my stash. I don't want to use something woolen spun though, and a lot of what I have is woolen spun. So I don't know, we'll see. But I really, really want to make some, for me, not for my husband, some really thick non-superwash ribbed socks that are kind of like slippers. So yeah, those are on the radar. Okay, next is a sweater that I've been working on the past couple episodes that I am really, really loving. This is living in another project bag that I made. This is a Ghastly's project bag that I made for myself a long time ago. This is my Ramona Light cardigan, and this is being knit out of my hand-dyed yarn again, Moonstone Dyeworks, in the dark crystal colorway. And I am almost done, and this is also my sport weight base, so it's the Merino Sport, and I really like this yarn. It's really nice. It's really plump and thick, and it's just great. I love it. And so if this is a top down, did I tell you what sweater it was? I did. It's the Ramona Light by Elizabeth Smith, and it's a top down raglan sweater cardigan with a button band and a neck collar. Obviously, there's a neck collar. I don't know. What am I talking about? I'm almost done with the body, and I've started on the ribbing. Now the pattern doesn't call for 1x1 ribbing. It calls for what I think is a broken rib, but I didn't want to do that. I have made the Ramona original pattern before, which is the same sweater but in worsted weight yarn, and I did the broken rib hem on that, and I like it okay, but I don't know. I'm a sucker for just plain ribbing in hems. I don't like fancy stuff in my hems. I like ribbing a lot. So I did the plain rib this time. This sweater has this garter line going down the sides to be like faux seams. It also has the same kind of garter pattern for the raglan increases. And I knit this sweater so far, like the main body part, on a US size 5 on my Lickit interchangeable needles. And that is what the pattern calls for. I did a gauge swatch. Boom, got gauged. Since it calls for the broken rib, I think it has you just use the same needle, but I'm doing the regular ribbing and I really like going down needle size for my hems on regular ribbing, so that's what I did. So I'm on a size 4 right now, and yeah, it's going really nicely, really quick. It's a super easy knit because it's just stuck in knit back and forth, and so it's super mindless. I've been really enjoying working on this at night when I'm just relaxing on the couch, enjoying a sparkly beverage and watching Christmas movies. So I'm really loving how this colorway is turning out in this sweater. I'm so happy with it. It's like exactly what I pictured. And I was alternating skeins. So these are my first 2 skeins, and I'm still on the first 2. And I have broken one off. When I started the ribbing, I broke one off and am no longer alternating skeins for the ribbing. I don't have a good reason for that. It just seemed like a good place to stop alternating skeins where I wouldn't care anymore. It's ribbing, and it's only like that thick, so like who cares if it, I don't know, pools or whatever. Who cares? But I think it's looking pretty good. I'm really, really happy with it. So now I just have, I'm gonna do 3 inches for the ribbing. That's what the pattern calls for, and I like that nice, long, thick ribbing. And then I'll do the sleevesies, and then the button band, and the neckband. And then sew buttons on. All 3 of which are my least favorite things to do. Button bands, neckbands, mostly like picking up that, I don't mind picking up stitches, but picking up like 100 stitches evenly, that's like the hardest thing in the world. I don't like it. Also sewing on buttons is, I don't know. I got something against it. So I'm getting pretty close to being done with this sweater. I really like it. I like it so much. And yeah, it's a great, really basic top-down raglan cardigan. It's like super basic, really simple, really easy. The pattern is great. It's written super clearly. And I like it. And I can't wait for it to be done. It has waist shaping. It may have an option for no waist shaping, but if it doesn't, it's really easy to take it out. I think there's an option for no waist shaping. Okay, my last project that I've been working on is a new cast on, and it is exciting slash a teeny bit of a bummer, but it's mostly exciting. This is living in a Fat Squirrel Bag. I cast on, ooh, first let me show you the yarn. You want to see it? Look at this giant ball of yarn. It's beautiful. So this is Brooklyn Tweed Quarry in the granite colorway, and I frogged my ambrosia cardigan. So I knit the ambrosia when I was pregnant with Lucy, actually, because the main picture of it is me like hugely pregnant with Lucy. And so I knit it 2.5 years ago at some point, and I don't wear it ever. I like it a lot, but I don't love wearing it. I don't feel like it looks that good on me. And it's like, I don't know. I think mainly my issue with it is that it's got this really beautiful like lattice pattern on the yoke, and it's on the yoke to where like it starts on your chest and it doesn't go up your shoulders. It goes around the side of your shoulders, which is a super cool look, and I really like it. But just the way that this particular sweater was knit and fits on my body, I feel like it gives me like football padding shoulders. You know what I mean? I don't know. It just, I don't know. It feels weird. I don't like it. So I ripped it out, and I decided that I needed to reknit the yarn right away so that it didn't live in my stash forever like this. And so I decided to cast on the Oxbow Cardigan, which has been on my radar for a pretty long time. I always see it come up in like pattern searches on Ravelry, and it's a pattern by Andrea Mowry, and it's a bulky weight, all over texture cardigan, and with a shawl collar, which I like a lot. And it's always kind of been in the back of my mind that I like that sweater. And then I saw Kayla from the Naughty Pine Fiber Co. podcast wearing hers as I was like ripping out the ambrosia, and I was like, yes, I'm doing it. So I cast it on. I have almost 500 grams of this yarn. I started out with 5 skeins for my original sweater and lost, I think, let me see, I have it written down. Nope, I don't have it written down. I lost, I think, like 10 or 20 grams somewhere along the way, you know, with stuff. So I have almost 1,000 yards, and for the size that I'm making, which is the 30-inch bust, I have a 32-inch bust, so I'm going a couple inches negative and crossing my fingers and hoping it's all okay. I was in between sizes, and it calls for positive ease, but I don't love a lot of positive, I don't know, whatever. I justified knitting the size that I'm knitting because the size that I'm knitting calls for 1,000 yards, and I have almost 1,000 yards. So there's a lot of ifs and buts all around on this sweater, including the sleeve. So it's a bottom-up sweater, and it has you start with the sleeves. So I've cast on and knit almost this whole sleeve. I've done most of the increases so far, but I have decided I'm going to rip it out and start over because I did the increases differently than the pattern calls for. And the pattern calls for you to cast on, start the sleeve. Let me show you the texture pattern a little bit better, actually. So that's what it looks like. It's a really simple, like easy 4-row, 4-stitch repeat. No, wait, yeah, 4-stitch, 4-row repeat. So it's simple, and the increases are called for to do every 2 inches. Now, an even number of repeats, like a single repeat, a double repeat, a triple repeat, never lines up with 2 inches. So I didn't want to have to like do the figuring out of where, like which row I would have to do all my increases on. So I changed it. And I know I could just knit willy-nilly, measure and do my increases as I actually measure every 2 inches. But I like keeping track more accurately than that of my increases because I want the second sleeve to match exactly. Maybe I should just do 2 at a time sleeves this time. Should I just do 2 at a time sleeves? Anyway, what I ended up doing this first time was I changed the increase rate to match like 3 pattern repeats. That way I knew at every 3rd pattern repeat I would do an increase. And it made the increases a little bit farther apart than 2 inches, but I thought it would be fine. And then when I got up here, I realized it wouldn't be fine. So I started following the pattern directions, and then everything was just all wonky. And then it was like increasing like really fast, and it was all really tight and snug down here. I overcomplicated it, and I'm gonna rip it out and go back to basics and just do what she says and make it easy. And maybe I will do that. People are always encouraging me to do 2 at a time sleeves, and I just don't love the idea of 2 at a time. One of the reasons why I don't love it is because I would have to split my yarn up, but my yarn is already all split up, so hey, that solves that. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna do 2 at a time sleeves. I'm gonna not count rows when measuring my decreases. I'm just gonna do it with a ruler every 2 inches, and that way I can do it the same on each one. Right? I don't know, we'll see. I'm overcomplicating it again. Just do what the pattern says. So I'm knitting this on a size, it's a US 11 that you knit this on, and this is my Licca interchangeable needle. These needles, in my opinion, get really like nice and pretty and satisfying when you get to these really big sizes. I really like them. And so it's nice, it goes by really fast because it's really thick yarn on really big needles. And I'm enjoying it so much so that I'm gonna knit it all over again. Yeah, so I did do a swatch, and I got, is this the front? This is the front. I got a little bit of a looser gauge than the pattern called for, like very slightly, like half a stitch or a quarter of a stitch or something, some ridiculous amount like that. Looser than what the pattern called for. So I'm hoping that works in my favor for making the whole thing a little I don't know. We're hoping it's gonna fit fine. It's gonna fit fine. It's fine. It's gonna be fine. So that's it. That's my Oxbow. And yeah, we're going. We're going with it. Isn't this great? I love it. So this is much of the body of the ambrosia ripped out. And when I knit the ambrosia, I did spit splicing to join my ends. And when I came across those splices when I was ripping it out, I just left them. So this is almost 3 skeins right here. And I love it. Okay. And that is everything I've been working on. That's pretty much all I got for you this week. There's going to be no shop update. Like I said earlier, I'm the dyer behind Moonstone Dyeworks. I had my big holiday update 2 weeks ago on a Friday, and it went so amazingly well. And I'm just so grateful to everybody that stopped by and checked things out. And I'm thank you. Thank you so much if you participated in that update. Participated in it if you checked it out. But thank you. I'm taking a little bit of a break for the holiday, and I am probably going to have my next shop update in early January. I am still going to be dyeing over the break, but I'm just not going to go hard dyeing. I'm going to kind of do a little bit here and there, and then gather my stuff for the first couple weeks of January. I'll put stuff up. I want to, in my next update, focus on my non-superwash base, which is 100% non-superwash merino fingering weight yarn. I love it. I love my non-superwash base so much. It's that same high twist 2-ply kind of sock yarn construction that my BFL sock and my merino sock is. It's just non-superwash, and it's beautiful. I love it so much. So I have a lot of that in stock right now. So I want to focus on dyeing a lot of that base, and so that I can get that up during the winter time. Favorites, I did not, of course, I never do anymore, prepare anything for favorites, but I might as well tell you about some movies that I've been watching. So for me and Colin in our house, it is Christmas movie season. Typically we go pretty hard on the holiday movies in December. We'll like make a list of all of the holiday movies that we want to watch and try to watch them like just all month long. This year we didn't do that. Mostly I think because we've been doing that for the past few years, and I think in doing that for the past few years we've kind of watched all of them that we want to watch. And we're not really the types that will watch it over and over and over and over and over again unless it's like our favorite movie. For example, we just watched Rushmore recently, and it was probably the 6th or 7th time I've seen that movie, and it was probably the 15th or 16th time Colin has seen that movie. It's one of our favorite movies. It's a really great movie if you've never seen it. It's called Rushmore. Anyway, that's besides the point. We don't typically rewatch Christmas movies like the same one every single year. So this year we didn't have much of a backlog of movies to watch, so we have so far just watched 2 new ones, both of which I enjoyed so much. One of them, of course I don't remember what they're called. Why, I just started talking about this willy-nilly and I don't know what they're called. I do, I totally know what they're called. I do. Happiest Season. We watched Happiest Season. I was so excited to watch that movie because I love Daniel Levy with a deep burning passion. And it was great. It totally lived up. All I knew about it was that it was a Christmas movie and it was with him, and it did not disappoint. It was an amazing movie. It was so good. It was super traditional and like heartfelt and sincere and cheesy and all of that like family Christmas cliche. And then it had Daniel Levy as like just this perfect comic relief. Just like, he was just perfect. And it was great. I enjoyed it so much, and I loved it. So that's a new Christmas movie that I highly recommend. And the other one that we watched was, totally gonna remember what this movie's called. I'm just gonna look it up because I'm not gonna remember what it's called. I want to say Mr. Penumbra is something, but I'm thinking of a book called Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore, which was a pretty good book if you're into like magical realism and like kind of contemporary hipster small-time bookstore stories. Okay, Netflix Christmas movie. Jingle Jangle. It's called Jingle Jangle. That's what we watched. And it was also amazing. It was also a really kind of classic cliche Christmas story, but in a much different way. Like Happiest Season was like the like annoying family Christmas movie, but that's also very heartfelt. And then this one was the like super magical, like kind of from a kid's perspective, like just fantastical Christmas story. And I loved it. It was a musical, which is amazing. It was like one of these movies where, you know, it's modern times and the grandma is reading her grandkids a giant magical book. And so you get, the movie is pretty much the story from the book. And it's about a toy maker and an inventor, and there's lots of magic and stuff in it, and it's really beautifully made. It's super wonderful, like cute and quirky and fun and magical story, and just visually it's incredible. It's like awesome visually. It's like that classic like Christmas magic, sparkly, snowy style. With a lot of like neat like magical realism inventor kind of stuff, with lots of like gears and like, you know, fancy magical like things that somebody would invent in like some kind of magical history that didn't exist. So it was really fun. I'm really glad we watched those two movies. I liked them a lot. If you're interested in my all-time favorite Christmas movie, I am going to tell you what it is. I haven't watched it this year, but I have watched it every year for the past several years, so it might be coming up soon. Also, I would love to know what your very single favorite Christmas movie is. Please tell me. But my favorite Christmas movie isn't quite a Christmas movie, but it's a Christmas movie to me. It's called Last Holiday. I may have told you about it before because I love this movie so much. I accidentally watched it on a whim when I was house sitting for a coworker a very long time ago. It just came on TV and I was like, ooh, Queen Latifah. It's with Queen Latifah. And it seemed like a really stupid, cheesy movie, but it had Queen Latifah in it. So I was like, no one's here. I'm by myself. I'm eating pizza in someone else's house. I'm going to watch this movie. And I fell in love with it. It's become my favorite Christmas movie. And it pretty much mostly, like Christmas is in it, but it just happens. It's not a big deal. It mostly takes place between like the week between Christmas and New Year's. And it's pretty much about Queen Latifah. She plays this woman who like, you know, she works in retail, I think. And so like, you know, the beginning of the movie is her working in retail right before Christmas. So everything's horrible. She gets treated really badly by her boss. And then she finds out that she has some rare disease and she's dying really soon. So she, of course, Queen Latifah somehow plays that off really hilariously. And she decides to give up her whole life, take whatever money she has and go, I forget where she goes. She goes to Europe somewhere and just spends it all, you know, and just enjoys her last week of life or whatever. And it's just really, it's a really fun, really funny movie. And Queen Latifah is just like the best. And another thing that really attracts me to it is there's a lot of food in this movie. Like one of my favorite parts of the movie is this relationship that she develops with the chef at the fancy hotel thing that she's staying at. And some of the scenes with her eating dinner in his restaurant in the hotel are just like the best. Because she's really into food and, I don't know, food and like restaurant touring or whatever kind of play a good role in this movie, and I just really like it. So anyway, that's my favorite Christmas movie. If you haven't seen it, maybe watch it this year. I recommend it. And like I said, it's not exactly even a Christmas movie. It's just kind of a wintry movie. So that's it. That's my stuff that I talked about for favorites. I came up with something. Proud of myself. All right, I will leave you there. I hope you are all having a really fantastic Friday or whatever day you are watching this on. I hope your December is going really well. If you celebrate any holiday coming up, I hope it's all going really nice and smooth and easy and fun for you. I hope you're keeping it fun. We are in the last days of Autumn and Sweaters 2020, so if you are still wearing or making sweaters, please participate on Instagram. I would love to see you over there. And stay tuned for next episode for the thing where it ends. And you might win something. So I will see you over there. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to like and subscribe. And also, if you're into Vlogmases, please check out my episodes if you're interested in that kind of thing. If you want to see what my life is like outside of the podcast, spoiler alert, it's boring. But it's also very fun. I think boring is fun. Thank you so much to my Patreon subscribers. You keep this going, and I have so much love and appreciation for you, and for everybody who watches every episode, or any episode. Thank you so much. And have fun, and stay awesome. Bye.